Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. It is Positively Awesome Wrestling, and we are back again, baby. It is the Drip King, as always, Jimmy Baby, crown on the head. I'm rocking Sam Roberts today because that's the inspiration. You already know. And I'm joined by, as always, our good buddy Tidey, everybody's favorite better half here. Tidey, how are you doing this week, man?
I'm doing good, man. Again, sleep is something that doesn't exist. I'll sleep when I'm dead.
I like that. You don't need sleep right now. You can get that when you're done.
There's a new belt.
Oh, look at that. He got the spinner. It's spinning. Albert, you joined us as well. I'm glad you're part of the team. It's been a great few weeks since you've joined us. How have you been this week with all of the wrestling and just life in general going on?
Things are all right. I mean, today's a long day for me. I was up at 6 a.m. to be on a film shoot all day. So after, so doing that and then cleaning up with here. But you know what? This is fun. I get to talk wrestling, and it's been an interesting week in wrestling. So it's going to be fun talking with you guys.
For sure. Let's get these comments, and then we will jump right into some things. Hey, dude, again, StreamYard sucks for me. I wish I could figure this out. This is Andy. Got Andy in the chat. What up, Andy? I know he's up late to watch us. That's cool. I appreciate it, buddy. Looking good, babe. I think she's just talking to herself at this point because she's clearly the one that's looking good, and I'm just looking like this. But she says, hello, Tidey and Albert. We got Cameron back in the chat. What up, Cameron? Thank you for continuing to join us, bud. It's always a pleasure to have you. Courtney in the chat. Sup? What is up? Just want to let you know she added you on Twitter. That's good.
Thank you. I'll add you back.
And then, yeah. It's been a long day. She's had a really long day, much longer than me. So funny story. She woke me up in the middle of the night because the light was on in the closet, and she's like, "Help me!" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got your back. Go get it." She thought it was demons, and I'm like, I got your back. Go get it. But yeah, just a little quick funny story there. It was just the light that I installed so she can see her clothes for the morning when I don't want to be woken up. It's too early to be waking the king. I got to get my beauty sleep, and it still doesn't work.
I try to do the red light bulb.
And then this is Chris Hosey. He says, "Your dude, Albert, my dude, Chris Hosey."
What's up, Chris? How are you, man?
Chris? You're here for Albert. That's fine with me as long as we got people watching. It's a good party up in here. But now that we've knocked those out of the way, we can jump into the thing. And I think we're going to start off with the hot topic because, again, it's what people have been talking about all week, and I'm sure we have a lot of different opinions on it. Consolation Championship, WWE Championship, whatever we're calling it. I don't even really know because I've seen so many different names. The one I don't like, though, is the one I've put up here, Consolation Champion, because I think that's a horrible name. But people have that opinion. Albert, I'm going to start with you on this one. What do you think of the new title being introduced to the world of WWE?
Love it. I absolutely love it. I thought it was the smartest thing to do. Roman has a stranglehold on these other titles. The idea of trying to take this belt off of Roman at any other point diminishes his run. The idea is that he's this undefeated universal juggernaut that's running through everyone. The idea that people are talking about, well, they could have separated the belts at WrestleMania with Cody, or they could have, So I mean, there are just so many wrong things about the way people wanted things to go. I mean, Roman has to lose. He has to lose, with, purpose and intent. There can be no, fallacy. He has to just lose.
If he can't lose. He can't lose one title. When he loses,
he has to lose one title. Yeah. And then if Cody beats him at WrestleMania and immediately vacates the championship, it devalues the championship he was going to vacate anyway. That becomes the secondary championship now in everybody's mind too. So the idea that this would be a consolation championship, when we've already established these championships are the universal heavyweight, the undisputed universal heavyweight championship. It's two belts, but it's one title.
Yeah.
It's one unified belt, just like they had the undisputed championship. When there were two belts, it was the undisputed championship.
So this is the third time they've done this, correct? Because they did it with Chris Jericho, and then they did it again with Randy Orton.
Right.
And now they're doing it again with Roman.
Yep.
Now, when they what would you say is the number one title in WWE right now? The big dog. Which one title is the most important?
I just think lineage-wise, it's the WWE Championship.
Okay, which one do you think is presented as the top one?
I think it's the one at the time. It's been the Universal Championship.
Okay, and at one point, wasn't the Universal title introduced the exact same way?
Absolutely was.
So the people who are complaining, just go ahead and rewind a little bit because things have worked out pretty okay for it since then.
So I posted something on Twitter about this, and I said, the ironic part of it is that this did happen before, and when it did happen, everyone had their opinion on the championship. It was in Brooklyn. I remember because it was in my backyard. People booed the championship. They unveiled the title. They booed in the arena, and Twitter was even more visceral. And then what happened? Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, they become the top two guys. They become the guys that are going to wrestle each other for that championship. Everybody shut their mouths.
Yep.
Because then nobody cared anymore. It was like, oh, wait, well, Rollins or Balor is going to be a world champion in WWE. Oh, okay, then we're okay. And that's what I'm saying. Take a breath. Let it go. Let's see what happens. Because if it's one of your guys that wins, you're automatically that championship means a lot because it means something to you because your guy holds it. Yeah. That's the thing. Yes, okay, there's no lineage or whatever. Semantics. If it's being presented as a world championship, it's a world championship.
You got to start somewhere with it. And Tidey, so we'll swing it over to you. Do you view this title as just a consolation prize for whoever ends up winning it?
No, it's a beginning of a new era. Because the era of Roman's era has already been established. So if he's put it on the map that big, those two titles together, and clearly, I mean, you could think of small amount of names at this point that are built up enough, big enough to actually beat Roman and be a threat. The SmackDown draft, you got Bobby. Bobby's presented as freaking unstoppable. Of course, he gets cheated on a lot, so that happens. You got Gunther.
AJ Styles.
Well, I know that, yeah, but I don't think it's gonna happen immediately.
No. I'm just saying the people that could realistically go up against Roman for the title.
Well, AJ's got the confidence for sure, and then you got Gunther. So besides that, he literally has wiped every other name underneath that and took those titles and made it. I mean, man, it's a different legendary mode at this point. So there's no reason he should ever vacate one title or have to lose to anybody anytime soon, in my opinion, until someone can get on that Sami Zayn babyface level and really do that. So another title was needed, and it creates a new era. Now let's see if the new champion that gets crowned can try to elevate it through, like Triple H says, fighting. You don't have to acknowledge the champion. He's going to be on every week. He's going to be defending it. And if you look at the Raw draft, what I wanted to talk about was these are all fighters, man. I'm talking about Shinsuke reproving himself. There's Riddle, who is a straight up fighter, and he's meant business on that Raw episode. He's like, dude, I'm not here to be stupid. I know what I'm doing. I'm here to fight, basically. And what did Seth say? Some of us still want to fight, period. But you can't fight Roman, so let's just calm down. So let's make a new era and create new fighters. And I really hope Sheamus goes there as well. And Drew, God, he's got to refight and build that shit up. I mean, that's nothing but fighters. And I'll stop right there.
Yeah, I would actually like to see Sheamus stay on SmackDown because I think he's another person that could have a feud with Roman and really extend the reign, which we're going to get to in a little bit.
I think that those guys that you named and Randy Orton are the only guys that Roman hasn't really beaten on this entire run. I mean, that's a handful of guys. And that's why that's the other thing. Everybody's saying, I'm going to address actually because Courtney put this in the chat. She said they wanted him to beat Hulk Hogan's record. That's been like a rumor that they've been saying. And if that's the case, if he's going to go like that route, that's 5 guys we just named right there that he hasn't had a match against yet during this run. He's got mileage on it. And if they're admitting he's not going to be a full-time champion, he's got plenty of mileage to get back to Cody at WrestleMania 40 if that's the story that they want to tell.
Okay, so I will say before we go any further about the consolation thing. If Cody Rhodes wins this title, I'm 100% on board with the whole consolation idea. I know that sounds bad, but it's like, yeah, I can't ignore that. If you're putting that title on Cody, it's like that's kind of a BS move, and they should be shamed for it. The Hulk Hogan thing is interesting because everyone, I won't say everyone, wrestling fans today, the newer wrestling fans, have a really sour taste of Hulk Hogan in their mouth. They think very, very, very little of this man. And I get it. I get it to an extent. And they're like, and when they have people like this, they want their record stricken from the book. Okay, well, they're trying to do that with Roman Reigns. You can't be mad then. They gotta kind of have to pick a poison there. Like, okay, I don't want Roman as champ. But if he's gonna take Hogan's record, I guess it'll do. And as I've always said, the bloodline storyline is the gift that keeps on giving. So until it no longer has any gifts to give, I don't see why anyone would complain that we're literally seeing it through. And consolation title is going to basically shut the people up who says, well, we need a champion on both shows. Well, now we have one. So this title should not be looked at higher than Roman's, because Roman has put in the work to really elevate that title. So the idea that this one is looked at as less than, it should 100%. It definitely should be. But as a consolation, I hate that name. It's just why? Like, it's not the first time we've done it, and we've been okay with it every other time. So
the belt needs to be built up. It's a new belt.
Exactly.
Gunther did it. The Miz did it back there for the Intercontinental Championship. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say Seth, Bobby, and Theory. They're fighting each other for the USA title. That made it big. Bobby made it big at the time. I mean, things got to be built up, man. There's always going to be complainers and whiners. That's a little harsh. There are always going to be people that react and have a feeling about something. And not that they're not thinking it through. Those feelings are valid. People are human beings. Those feelings are valid. But in time, like anything, they will be proven to be like, yeah, I like this champion who has that belt at that time. It feels cool. They'll be all right.
Yeah, people like to react emotionally before they think things through. That's why I'm here, baby. I think things through logically and try and help y'all understand it. So thank you for listening, but you're welcome for me educating you. That's how
I'm emotional. I'm the emotional one.
Your buddy Chris says, I don't see it as a consolation prize. Thank you. That's 4 for 4 there. Other than the fact Triple H basically was like, none of you can beat Roman, so we need another champion. I feel like it's more like the AEW International Championship, just my opinion. I'm not mad at that, because right now the AEW International Championship is like the best title in AEW to me.
Orange Cassidy has, I think, 20 championship defenses in like how long has he had? I think 200 days he's closing in on champion, and 20 defenses already. I mean, absolutely. I mean, workhorse championship in pro wrestling right there.
But I think the part about, here we go, I'll pull it back up. The part about Triple H basically saying that no one can beat Roman. Again, I think that's really just to build up the whole Roman Reigns thing. Yeah. Like, they're really going to start leaning into this idea that, like, yeah, man, nobody on this roster can beat him. Like, he's just kind of got a stranglehold. So that, again, when he finally does lose, it's like, wow, it's going to be such a huge moment. I can't wait for it to happen. If I have to wait till next year, if I have to wait till WrestleMania 41, I'll do it. And it's going to be such a huge moment. I can't wait for it.
You know, and you said something, Jimmy, before that I mean, rings true. The bloodline storyline is the gift that keeps on giving. You know, everybody was writing it off after WrestleMania. Oh, it's getting boring. Oh, it's going downhill. Oh, Roman's not there, so they can't tell the story. All of a sudden, the Sammy and Jimmy, and Jay, backstage stuff. Then we, move into this whole little, these new deals that they're going through. And the draft, they're getting split up, all this stuff. It creates intrigue. And the faces on Solo, Jimmy and Jay at the end of SmackDown this week. It's slowed down. It's we don't care about it anymore. Oh, it's all anybody's talking about, though, isn't it?
I'm gonna really do a deep dive into that when we get to the other segment for one of the other segments for the evening. But what's good, baby? It's all good up in here, baby. That's my buddy Tom. Thank you for joining, Tom. Much appreciated as always. Gunther versus Roman would be a great match. So it would. I don't think I want to see that more than Gunther versus Cody, though. I think Gunther versus Cody is a better match to me.
I want to see Gunther versus Brock more than all of them.
I just think the dynamics between Gunther the heel and Cody as that just white baby. It's just a perfect match. That's why the end of the Rumble was so good. But we'll stick on the subject of the title real quick, and I'll just ask Tidey, who do you got winning this title at the tournament? was it Night of Champions at the Saudi show.
I'm looking at the people that were already drafted. Tenders are Drew, Riddle, Seth, Cody. Those are the contenders right now as I see it. But I see Seth getting it now and Cody trying to take it back a little after SummerSlam. That's what I see happening.
Okay. Albert, who do you got winning this world? I don't even know what the title's called, honestly. So I'm just going to call. Who you got winning the new title?
I think it's just called the World Heavyweight Championship.
Okay. Yeah. So like big gold then. It's essentially
right. Which by the way, if they announce that lineage gets traced back to that old championship, that immediately restores like a lot of credibility in fans' minds. So they probably should just say that that's what they're doing. Just throwing that out there, that would just satiate everybody who's complaining about the championship. It's not a new title. We're reintroducing the old one.
Well, it kind of resembles it a little bit too.
It does.
Triple H did say at the beginning of the draft, he called Roman Reigns the undisputed universal. He didn't say heavyweight, undisputed universal champion.
Okay.
And then now they're calling this the heavyweight champion. So it's implied, and we'll get it eventually. Just let us blow up on Twitter for a while, I guess is what he wants us to do. You got to make popcorn somehow. You got to make popcorn by putting some.
I really hope it's not the WWE title. I don't know if I'd like that.
Heavyweight championship.
If it became the WWE title, I think I'd have an issue with that.
No, I don't think that's. Yeah, I think he's just been calling it the World Heavyweight Championship.
That works. Buddy Chris, he says Seth.
It's either Seth or it's Drew, and I kind of hope a heel Drew McIntyre wins it. I mean, that'd be great.
Yeah. You're stealing that one right on me because I was gonna say just to run down the names. Tidey said Cody. Again, I explained why it shouldn't be Cody.
I agree.
Cody. I understand like why we're addressing it because it's a possibility he could be the person. I just think that would be a horrible idea. He said Seth, which I think is the popular pick, and I wouldn't be mad at that. Drew, which is my pick. I think a returning heel Drew McIntyre is exactly what we need out of Drew McIntyre right now, and it would be fantastic. And then what was the fourth one he said?
Riddle and Randy, but I just said Riddle.
Okay. The reason I won't say Riddle is because I think he has a lot of groundwork to cover to get back to that level. He kind of fell off a little bit, but I think he can get there. Triple H likes him, and I think he'll kind of lean into the more serious aspect of Riddle, which a lot of people were wanting. As long as I still get a little bit of goofy Riddle, I'll be happy. But
and we've been seeing a good mix.
Yeah. Why not Cody? Because Cody's story is with Roman Reigns, and if he wins that title, it's a consolation. It literally becomes the consolation title that I don't want it to be. So that's why I say no to Cody.
It literally became the
champion, just not this title. His title is the one that Roman has. That's my opinion.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, Drew would be so good. And I think what I noticed when Triple H was doing the announcement is that he said the person who wins this is going to deserve it. And there's two people on that list. And that's it as far as deserving. One is Seth Rollins, and two is Drew McIntyre. And we've been talking about it ever since he won the title in front of nobody.
Couldn't agree more.
He deserves this. So those are things I look at when I'm trying to make my pick. So I'll say that. I'll bring up so we'll segue in a second with this, but because this is an interesting thing to me.
Yeah.
Apparently a serious Riddle is really this is Tom. On the indies, they had a very serious Riddle in which he was just a badass and just ran through people. So that's kind of the serious Riddle. I still want him to be goofy. It's just too funny. And then if I bet Bray was not MIA, he probably could have been a player for sure. This is Chris. For sure. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility now. I saw where Bray has said he's very excited to come back. He's just dealing with the illness. So
right.
Randy or Dolph. It won't be Dolph. Dolph's time's up.
Unfortunately, yeah.
So yeah, I think a heel Drew going over probably Cody Rhodes at Night of Champions is the way I would do it. And Cody got screwed some way, somehow. I don't know. Maybe he beats Seth in the semis and then Seth comes out and says, not on my watch. And he screws Cody Rhodes. And then we go back into Seth and Cody. That's a fine way for us to get back to that feud. And I wouldn't be mad at it.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. I've heard someone even bring up Gunther as a possible person to win it. That would be interesting.
I mean, he's on the Raw brand. I mean, why not?
Yeah. So with that, we're going to transition. And like I said, we'll do it since she brought up Dolph Ziggler being a free agent in the draft. Night 1 of the draft is officially in the books. We got some very interesting moves, I'll say. But the most interesting to me was the fact that there's free agents that are allowed to go on both shows. Dolph Ziggler's one. I think Mustafa Ali was one. Omos is one. The Omos one I do get. What was that?
Yeah, Von Wagner.
Okay. That one doesn't make sense to me either. Omos I do get, because if you're going to just use him periodically, just have him show up. I get it. I don't really like it, but I do get it.
Yeah, I agree.
Ray he was drafted with the LWO to Raw, I believe.
I don't believe they were ready to be drafted. They were eligible to be drafted yet. I think they have to wait for Monday.
I thought they got drafted.
Nah, they didn't yet. I would have been throwing I would have been so happy. Anyway, yeah.
So he hasn't been drafted yet, Tom. So you'll have to watch Monday night to find out where he goes. I would assume he's going to go wherever Dom is not going to go.
Yeah, I agree.
Then again, that feud's not over with either. So I don't know. But so far, with night 1 in the books, Tidey, what was the most, I guess, standout pick for you? I already know what you're going to say. I already know what he's going to say. But go ahead, let me know.
Well,
what was the
from night
standout
1,
pick for you?
from day 2, different. Night 1 is Bobby Lashley.
Day 2 will count because technically it's still part of that initial.
Well, then I'm going to say JD McDonough.
I knew you were going to say JD.
But whatever. I'll calm down on my JD fanaticism.
No, you're good. Hey,
Bobby Lashley, dude. Because nobody understands. They don't know the history of him from NXT UK and where he's at. But everybody knows where Bobby's at. The fact that Roman's going to have to dodge him because Bobby is built up and presented like a monster. Roman has to dodge him. And there's no way Bobby's. I mean, I think he tweeted it out. Something referring to Roman like fight. It's been a long time. And he had like a little fist on his Twitter. That to me means everything because I can't see many other people that are presented big enough that I know that's going to probably come to SmackDown that can squash Roman. And I think literally step on his neck and that head will just pop off like a goddamn toothpaste cap. Yeah, it's going to happen, man. It won't happen because they're going to dodge him. They're going to find ways to dodge him. They're going to distract him. Whatever's got to happen. Sami Zayn's still going to win that title, man. I got evidence. No, not really. No.
So Bobby Lashley and JD McDonough, I could have called that. That's fine. I am excited to see JD on Raw. I think with how they have drafted the things, I think JD fits in with Raw great. And I think it was interesting that Raw kind of we all know SmackDown, the original draft, they're like the SmackDown 6, and it's a special moment for wrestling thing. I feel like Raw is in that position this time with who they've drafted, and I'm really excited for it. Because again, we all know I'm a big Monday Night Raw mark all day, every day. I don't care. I'll admit it, and I'll say it loud and proud.
I got to say one more thing. So me and my roommate were talking about it, and she noticed it. I gave her the list, and she's like, dude, those are like straight up fighters. And he said, what? He said it's going to be a fighting championship. Like, these are going to be someone you respect. He even went towards Roman. And then I looked at SmackDown. I'm like, these are people that can be better at a story. They'll be wrestling, of course. And I'm like, because the bloodlines, I got to ask you, Jimmy, the Usos got to stay on SmackDown, and so does Sami and KO. You cannot separate that story. If you do, it'll be weird.
I'll say that. I will say, I think you could separate Sami and Kevin Owens from it. I think you can. I think it's close enough to the end of their part of the story to where I think you could just separate them. And then when you get to the big fours, they could still have those interactions to kind of close up any loose ends. I would be shocked if the Usos weren't on with SmackDown. But again, I mean, I wouldn't even be shocked to see the Usos get split up.
Universal tag titles, because they are the Universal Tag Title champions, they've been known to go between any show. So they can still pop in just to, say something about it, whatever. But eventually they're going to lose those titles. And
I think they're going to split them
more. I
think they're going to end up splitting them so that you'll have one on each show, which I think is dumb. I don't think they have enough tag teams for it, but I do think that's what they're going to go.
All right.
They're all one faction. Yes, the LWO is all one faction now. That way, when Santos turns on Ray, it'll be more impactful. Zoe on SmackDown. I think Zoe would have been better on SmackDown because I think the women that were drafted on SmackDown are a very hard-hitting it's a hard hitting division with what SmackDown has, and I think Zoe Stark would have fit much better in there because you put her in there with Becky Lynch and she's going to get ate up. That's going to be over before the match even takes place. So hopefully it works for her because I like Zoe. I think she would have been better suited on SmackDown.
You don't get to push that Becky Lynch button. That's not fair to Zoe Stark, okay? You don't get to push like go to war button and drop a nuke. That's
we
not
do
fair.
because they did it with everybody else. She's got to sink or swim, baby. Indy Hartwell was another one. That was a weird one to me. I don't get that one at all.
It's the way, baby. The way is back.
I was okay with her getting drafted, but I just don't understand why they're taking all of NXT's champions off of their brand. It just
I think it makes sense, kind of, because if you're going to take NXT's talents, you want to take the ones that are the most ready. And if you want to say they're the most ready, it's the ones that are on top of the divisions. So it makes sense to take them. I think it's kind of weird that they would take Indy while she's in a boot.
Well, so that was weird, but also Triple H also said that there were select NXT talents that were eligible for the draft. If that was going to be the case, why would you put your champions as talents that would be eligible just from a brand standpoint? That's just one of those little things that WWE does that for some reason doesn't make any sense to me. Like the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships. Can we please just drop the Raw and SmackDown from the names?
I would bet money they're going to.
I hope so, because it's getting annoying.
Change the designs, and they're going to change the looks up 100%. And I heard that it was going to be WWE and Universal, just like the men's, which, hey, do it. Then you don't have to do those stupid changes of the belts. It's pointless. And I think they're going to be doing that.
Index, Candice LeRae, Johnny Gargano, Austin Theory. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. I'm sorry.
Ain't gonna happen with Austin Theory. Oh man,
guys are gold.
Theory's going to SmackDown, so that ain't happening. He might not. He might not.
I just give up then.
I know.
My life
Bronson Reed, because Bronson Reed fits SmackDown's vision so far. So I could see Bronson Reed actually winning the United States title and taking it over SmackDown.
That's an interesting point that I didn't think. Or Lashley could win it too. There's no, you know what I mean?
I would, man, I want Bronson to win it.
I
want Bronson to win it.
I prefer
Lashley.
I'm not hating Bobby. I would prefer Bronson to have it.
And those guys have traded the championship back and forth before.
Yeah.
Let's get somebody new.
I don't think so, bud. First timer Rodimus. I don't think he's high on her, but who knows? We'll see. We'll find out after the draft. How about that?
She's in the category of if something doesn't happen with her soon, what is she still doing there? You know?
I mean, I feel like she's already there, but I'm not mad that she's still there. I'm glad that they keep people on and, they have a job and they get to relive these dreams. But it is kind of weird with some of the people they have released and she's still there.
Agreed.
It's kind of weird. Zoe Stark's move is so Zoe Stark's a beast. I do like really Zoe. I don't think she's ready for the big spotlight of Monday Night Raw. That's my kind of way of doing it.
I'm not gonna say anything.
It's not hate. I'm not hating on you people. I'm not hating on you people.
I know you're not like that. It's just people have been sleeping while she's been going.
Yeah.
You weren't watching it back then. Man, JD McDonough's got a story. They all do. Indy's the most loved presence in NXT.
And she is. Here's my thing.
Period.
Here's my thing. I'll touch on this just real quick because I actually watched NXT this week and it was a good show, except for that main event. And I know she got hurt, but before she got hurt, I'm sitting there watching that match, being like, "Why did they put the belt on her?" I hate it. I hate that that's the case because as far as what she was doing with the way and the things she does, it's fantastic. It's very entertaining. But as far as what I'm seeing from her in the ring, it's like she's not ready. I don't think Roxanne was ready, and I don't think Tiffany, who I praise every day, all day on this thing, is ready. From what I saw in that main event, I was like, none of those girls should be called up. They need to get better. So I was very shocked when Indy got called up.
She's just gonna pull a Dom Mysterio, man. Don't you know?
And if she does,
work it out.
And if she does, guess I'll be the first one to say I was wrong, and I'll praise her.
I think Triple H is adamant on rebuilding the women's tag team division, and bringing Indy up gives you an immediate tag team with Candice LeRae. I think that's the only reason why Indy got called up.
Yeah, because Mia again went to SmackDown, so Candice don't have her anymore. It makes sense. Makes sense.
Who went to SmackDown?
Mia Yim.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I agree. Bronson to win it for sure. I want him to hit that splash on both of them. I want him to stack them and then splash them both. Smash
That'd
them
be
and
great.
stack them and splash them. Dana Brooke's doing she I'll give Dana Brooke all the credit in the world. She really does try. She improves herself any way she can. I do give her credit for that. I feel like she's been there a long time and it hasn't changed for her. And sometimes just new scenery is all you need. NXT, well, she's just going. I will say, were either of you upset that NXT was not drafting here?
No, I wasn't. I never expected it to be a thing. So when you were doing your thing, I was like, why is he doing NXT? Like, but I saw it. It was cool. I loved all of it though. But the thing is, it was really good, guys. Good job. But I never thought it was. They said it's WWE, so I was just Raw and SmackDown. And NXT could get call-ups, but it would be cool if they would do that. But it's also seen as a demotion on live TV for some people. They don't want to do that, you know.
But I'm not crazy. Triple H did say that all brands are involved.
Right.
Yeah, basically able to come up to WWE.
Man, he should just kept his mouth shut because they do this anyway,
You know,
man. I was so excited that NXT was going to be making picks. I was
so I do agree. The idea that I at least thought that not only would there be all right. So I didn't know. I agree, Tidey, with you. I didn't think that there would be an NXT presence there, but I did assume that they were going to take guys from Raw and SmackDown or girls and drop them. You know, I don't want to use the word drop, but put them on NXT to rebuild their brand a little bit. And we haven't been seeing that. I mean, unless that's what they're doing with these free agents. If Dolph Ziggler and Mustafa Ali are maybe going down to NXT to, you know, to have a couple runs there and then come back up to, you know, see where they situate on Raw and SmackDown. That's the only excuse I have for, you know, some of these people being free agents. Omos makes sense, and they said MVP negotiated it.
Yeah.
So they have a plan there. But the other ones were a little bit head-scratchy. Maybe that's the plan. Maybe they can flip between NXT and help them.
I do think Mustafa Ali fits in NXT, so that would make sense.
Yeah,
but
you drafted him, didn't you?
To fill the blank in, it said Triple H said the end. Okay, like the selected people. So when you saw that crowd sitting there at NXT, those were the select out. Not all NXT was there. There's just that crowd. And then when they started it, I didn't catch it the first time. It was just like, you know, 30 people up for the draft tonight. It's going to happen again. There's going to be another 30 people. And he said the post-draft is on after Backlash on May 8th when everything's finalized, that we're just not going to get announced on TV or Twitter or whatever. And I think that's when you'll just see names that are moved now to NXT. But I don't think they're going to announce it in a certain way.
I think that May 8th episode of Raw is going to be a very people were like, Raw after Mania is going to be so good. I think the May 8th Raw has the potential to be that show because that's when everything is just okay. We're reset now. Tonight is the first night of our new season. Let the games begin. I think
that's after Backlash. So that's the big thing. It's after Backlash.
Yep.
So it actually almost makes it even more of a chance that Raw is going to be crazy because that's the last time we're going to see some of these guys and girls on Raw for a full year.
Yeah. So I was upset that they took the draft away from me on the show, but I was like, wait, if I'm going to that show, that's still really cool.
Right. I mean,
go ahead.
The next two pay-per-views are all hype pay-per-views. You got you get the new champions, Night of Champions, you get that new champion crown, and then right after that is Money in the Bank, right?
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, you're leading up to some big ass hype, and then if you're gonna say this person's in the Money in the Bank match, you better build it up like that person is earned to be there. So people will show up and show out right after WrestleMania Backlash. I'm sorry, man. You know who's gonna beat Gunther? Johnny Gargano.
Hush.
Come on, man.
That everyone. So this is Chris. No, I know Indy did, and I know a few people have been getting hurt apparently in the Performance Center, but I've also seen a bunch of people who go to the Performance every day say, yeah, that's not true. So I don't know. I tend to not really pay too much attention to stuff like that when we have wrestlers basically calling the news people out. It's like, yeah, if they're calling them out, then there's probably like no truth to what they're trying to say.
It does seem like in the ACL department, NXT is very much snake bitten though. I will say that.
I'll also say it's a lot of the newer people though, the ones
Yes.
that aren't
Yes.
wrestlers. They're new to this and they're not.
Right.
That's a thing. I wouldn't blame that on the performance center.
JD McDonough hasn't been hurt at all.
Yeah.
Like that dude can
I think-
wrestle and for real.
Grayson Waller, and then there was another girl that came out and was like, yeah, no, that's not true. So it was Thea Holly. I think that's how you say her name. The girl from Chase U. Yeah, she goes, I don't know where you guys heard this from. It's not true. So Sonya Deville and Shayna.
Hill.
If they ever built them up in the way that they could, this would be really cool. But I don't think they will.
I was
so
going to
here's my
say
thing.
that I like that dude because that was my pick because I feel like the fighters are going and Shayna's going to go and then Sonya has to get serious with Chelsea, whatever. But I think it's time to have. I mean, UFC is basically taken over, right?
Yeah.
You got ex-MMA people. If you can set up that fight, I think Raw's will be more of people being gritty and fighting.
Yeah.
There'll be story, but that's when I want it. Thank you to that guy because that was when I was looking at.
There you go,
And,
Rod.
you know,
One.
I'm
Props
also
already.
So I'm also, just in more. I want them to just focus on more stuff for the women that doesn't have a championship involved. I'm interested in Becky and Trish because there's no title involved.
Yeah.
But I'm still into it. Like I want to see it not just because there's a title there. I hope that they do more stuff like that. Like let's do these two like Tidey said. These two badass women just going at it and beating the crap out of each other like the guys do.
Yeah.
I want to see it too.
What is it? Ronda Rousey. Anyone who knows me knows I am not a fan of Ronda Rousey. I just am not. Sorry, not sorry. I will say the one feud she's had that I was interested in and invested in was the one she had before she got her title back from Liv Morgan, because it wasn't around the title. She was just out there doing what she does, and it seemed like she just wanted to hurt the girl because that's what Ronda Rousey does. And I was like, this is what I want to see more of. And then they stopped and they went back to the title thing. I was like, you ruined her. We were doing such good stuff with Ronda, then you ruined her. So I would like to see it too. I don't know if you guys would agree, but I would like to see a match between Bronson and Roman. Absolutely, because I love me some Bronson Reed. Love him. And
big guys beating on each other. That's it. Let's go.
To see Roman Reigns kick out of that tsunami splash would just be like, what? Because I don't think it's physically possible. So prove me wrong, Roman. Grayson has not been drafted yet. He did make a comment on it. He will be drafted on Monday night. If they leave this man in NXT, I will write a letter. I'm going to pull Chelsea Green. I will write a strongly worded letter to everybody and anybody I can find an email to, because that's unacceptable.
That guy is literally lightning. Like literally in a bottle.
I was hoping Miz would go to SmackDown and Grayson would just take his spot on Raw. I don't think that's going to happen now, but Grayson's too ready. Like, it's just wild.
Yeah. What about Carmelo? What do you think about Carmelo and Trick? Not time yet? It's got to be time. I mean,
I think you just put the title on him. I think you let him stay down there and kind of just build the next group of talent up. That way, when whoever beats him, then he can move on, and then you have that next person that can kind of carry the reins. And this is my man, Lewis. Yo, I do love Bronson Reed. I've been on the Bronson Reed fanboy bandwagon since he was in NXT. He got released. I was like, that sucks. And when he came back, I said, watch him be one of the best signings that Triple H has made since he brought all these people back. And so far, I'm not that far off. I would say Bronson's at least number 2.
Well, the way they built him, he's a power lifter, and they showed the video package of that. And when he stood next to Otis, who was also being trained by an Olympian, my number 1 guy, right? And then he looked bigger than Otis, and he kind of giggled about it and walked past him. The match he had with Bobby says it even showed he can take a beating. Bronson is presented just right, and as long as they keep that up, the attitude he had in the last promo was perfect. I'm like, this guy reminds me of a villain from like a Batman movie, and he's just right. He's perfect criminal villain. I love it.
So he is dope, Lou. And you watch him in New Japan, you saw him beat everyone's favorite the most overhyped wrestler in wrestling. I don't care if anybody wants to call me out on it. Okada. He smashed Okada, splashed Okada, and sent him out the G1 or however that nonsense works.
Oh, wow.
Bronson Reed smashed him.
I like Okada.
If you like
I never
Okada,
knew
that's
that.
fine. You know what I haven't heard you do though? Praise this man as the greatest thing since sliced bread.
No,
Before you go there, I'm
No.
cool with it. But if you try and tell me that Okada is better than Seth Rollins, I have serious issue with people who try and spin that shit.
I have serious issue with people giving those matches he had with Kenny Omega 7 stars. Were they great? Sure. Were they anything different than what we
The
had seen?
scale was 5.
Thank you. The scale is 5. You can't break the scale. There's no such thing. That doesn't exist. That means that means you have to create a new scale. That if the scale is broken, you need a new one, right? So just start a new scale. You can't just start rattling off. Well, we have a scale from 1 to 5, but that was a 6.
Yeah.
No, then that means that all the other 5s
Or
weren't
4s.
really 5s.
They're 4s.
Yeah.
This Canada, are we using the metric system? What happened?
So my girl says Cameron, and I'm so excited for Cameron too. To
Yeah, he should definitely
the moon, baby. I can't wait for him to get that call on Monday night.
I think he and Braun Breaker both need to come up from NXT.
I think Braun Breaker should stay in NXT too as a heel.
You think so? Yeah, okay.
I think he
can
needs to
see
work
that.
on that persona. I think it's going to
Okay.
work great for him.
Okay.
But
I don't hate
what
that.
happened there? That was weird. So Bronson, yeah, because PCO is a great person to go against because you just beat the hell out of him. He's just a dead person, so you just beat the crap out of him. It's awesome. It's awesome. You mean here's the thing with Punk. I do love some Punk, and I will praise Punk all day because he's my personal favorite. You're never going to hear me say he's a better wrestler than Seth Rollins, though. I'm a logical fanboy. I'll say I will praise Punk to the moon and back. But when it comes to being a realistic conversation about things, I'm able to say, you know what? No, he's not better than this. He's not better than this. He's not better than like I don't want to see him versus Kenny Omega because I think Kenny Omega would just wash him. He can't keep up with Kenny Omega. I think it could be interesting, but so kind of Lou, but not entirely. He has not got the call. We are just hoping he does because he's been gone for way too long.
Yeah.
It's been like a year, dude. It's been like a year.
Yeah.
And yes, Braun should stay as a heel because it is working wonders for him. I know, bud. You good, Lou. Lou, good people. You can bust my balls all the time, man. I ain't mad at it. You funny with it. You don't take it serious. But okay, so with that, I will say of all the picks, did we get yours, Albert? What was the one that stood out to you?
I mean, Drew for me more than anything else. But getting Drew back on Raw is just a big coup for them, especially that new championship. Drew back.
Here's a name we have not talked about. And it's kind of surprising. Is Shinsuke going to Raw? Huge for Shinsuke.
Love that.
Huge. He's going to have some great feuds over there.
Absolutely.
I can't wait. Him and Gunther.
And we've seen that already, but now that it looks like they're really putting the stock back into Shinsuke.
It'll be different. It will be different.
I think that Shinsuke needed that little bit of a reset, that time off, get himself straight, get himself better, and
we had to miss him.
And now it's time for him to become the top guy that we thought he was. He's at the end of his career. He's going to slow down a little bit, but he's not going to change his style. Let's see it go.
Yeah, go ahead, Tidey.
Wasn't the match that he had like a pretty hard hitting match? The one that he did was it last SmackDown or the SmackDown before that? Besides, like right before he just didn't see him anymore, didn't he have that event in Japan where it was a badass match?
Him and Great Muta,
yeah. And then so Triple H might as well reintroduce him when we reset everything, and right before we reset it, they had to have a match, just kicking the shit out of something. So I think, and then I was telling my roommate, I'm looking at who went to Raw, and Shinsuke was big to me because I was like, you're telling me you're putting fighters on there. Just like Seth said, some of us still want to fight. So thank you saying Shinsuke.
Yeah, I can't, because Shinsuke's style, I feel like the more you slow his style down, the more badass it kind of looks. Because he's a striker that's there to just beat you down. So if he's methodically doing it in a slow pace, that comes across as just a bigger badass to me. And
I agree.
When he beats Karrion Kross on SmackDown, I think this is gonna be the first step in the right direction for him. Because Triple H loves Shinsuke, so he's gonna do everything he can to make sure he's presented the way he should and pushed the way he should. I can't wait. I think Shinsuke is gonna be awesome on Raw. And then Drew is probably gonna, me and Albert on that one. Tidey, he could see it happening. So hope it's Rollins. honestly, I hope it's Rollins just a little bit more than Drew, just because I like Rollins more. But I've really been pushing for Drew to get another chance because I feel so bad for the dude. They turned on him right when we came back to fans. They were like, let's turn on him. It's like, what? What?
The good thing about Drew winning it would be that Seth, and if Cody's even alive after Brock Lesnar, Seth and Cody can be like, well, we're next. But it's like, hey, I don't care. I'm a fighting champion. I got to fight. Someone can fight me now. Someone else can jump up, whatever. But I think Seth and Cody would have to have one more fight towards it. Or Seth's going to be like, I have to prove I'm better than you. You still haven't gone through the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
And that's what he is.
They're definitely going to wrestle again before WrestleMania 40, 100%. I don't even care if it has to happen at the Royal Rumble and they're the last two in it. And they fight for like 20 minutes at the end because they're that like, no, this is my moment. And then says like, no, I've waited too long. This is my, like, you could do something like that. I'm all for it. I think, man, I'm really excited for this draft. I like pretty much every pick I saw. I didn't like Miz on Raw. And yeah, I like them. I'm not a fan of the free agents, but I'm willing to wait to see what they do with them before I
prove me that it wasn't a waste of an opportunity, and then I'll be okay with it. Yeah, I'm easily swayed. I admit it.
For sure. So with that, we will now move on to this. So the discourse, the rumor came up yesterday. I think it was yesterday that the WrestleMania 40 main event is looking like it will be a rematch between, I almost said Shinsuke again, Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. So I started thinking about it, and I came up with kind of this crazy theory that I never thought I'd think this way, but it kind of made sense to me. And I just wanted opinions and, I guess, validation for my crazy thoughts. So I'll ask both of y'all, who do you guys think is to blame if we're in kayfabe? Who do you think is to blame for the fact that Roman Reigns is still champion? Solo? Okay. Tidey. I guess maybe not in kayfabe was probably not the right way to put it. Just within the world of WWE and how they're operating things, who would you say is to blame for Cody losing?
Sami Zayn. You just don't have what Sami has. Right now is not the time, probably. And also, I'm just sorry. He'll get there.
Hold on. I just had to do this. Lou, it's not Vince, bitch. It's not Vince. It's not Vince. It really isn't. And I hope y'all are listening because I'm about to blow your minds. Tidey, go ahead. Sorry.
Said what he said. Triple H said what he said. And Triple H said what he said. I see someone like Gunther and like Roman, everything he's doing, he's on a different level. When I look at those, like those are champions. Yeah, there's more story to come. Story's not over.
Yeah.
I mean, he said what he said. It's right now, it's not the perfect time for the story for Cody to win. I can't speak to kayfabe and all this other stuff, but I know that's just a fact.
Yeah. So you got Courtney says Solo. Cameron says Solo. So Solo and Vince are the popular answers here. Tony Khan's fault. I like that. I like this one, Chris. We can be buddies. That's funny. So I'm kind of shocked. I'm kind of shocked Tidey said the same because that's whose fault it is. It is 100% Sami Zayn's fault. And I'm going to let y'all know why. Yep. Cody Rhodes getting injured. I guess you could kind of say it's Cody Rhodes' fault for getting injured, but accidents happen, so I can't put the blame on Cody Rhodes. But the Bloodline storyline would have kind of died out if Sami Zayn didn't interject himself into it and create some of the absolute most must-watch TV that WWE has produced in years. If ever, as far as one storyline is concerned. Obviously, they've had better overall shows, but as one storyline, I don't think they've ever had something that was just this damn delicious and appetizing with everything they gave us. And you are a fool if you look at it in hindsight and say that Sami Zayn is not the main engine pushing that whole thing. Obviously, Roman Reigns being at a level allows it to happen, but it wasn't going to be that entertaining without Sami Zayn. 100% if you disagree, I don't know what to tell you other than you're wrong. Because we were watching it. He beat Brock Lesnar. He got both titles. And then we're kind of just like, all right, now what? Then in comes Sami Zayn. You're like, well, we know he's just going to beat everybody, but this is kind of interesting. This is kind of fun. And then we talk about it all the way up to Elimination Chamber. Sami Zayn basically created an issue for WWE because the idea was like Cody Rhodes is going to come in and win the title at WrestleMania. And had he not got injured, I think he would have still won it at WrestleMania 39. I think Cody would have done it. But I also think that if that would have happened, Sami Zayn is not an issue. He doesn't become part of this storyline. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise that Cody did get injured. All is good now. He's back. He's fine. And he's right back on track. So no harm in saying that. But Sami Zayn created an issue. And a lot of people were like, well, they're going to boo Cody. Fans are going to turn on Cody because Sami didn't win it. And the fans are like, no, they won't. No, they won't. You're a fool if you think that there wouldn't have been at least a small section of fans that would have been alienated when they watched Sami Zayn lose and then Cody Rhodes win it like a month and a half later. Like, as much as I would have accepted it and been all like, yeah, Cody, you did it. Part of me would have been like, man, that should have been my guy. It should have been because it was so close to the chamber. So Sami Zayn, if he doesn't join the bloodline, we don't get that chamber moment. And then they don't have this issue where they have two baby faces that are on the same level. Maybe one's a little higher than the other one based on how over they got. So they got to kind of like, well, what can we do? We don't want to alienate fans. We don't want to. So how do you do that? You keep the title on Roman because what Sami Zayn join the bloodline has done is open up the door for just so much more meat. It had like this much meat on the bone, but because of Sami, now we got like so much more. It's like a feast now because you get the Jey Uso story, you get this Jamie Uso story, you get Solo sneaking in there, and then the Paul Heyman thing is just still weird to me because I don't know what the dude's plotting. He's plotting something, but we don't know what he's plotting. But they looked at that and they said, well, we could make this last another year probably.
I think they can.
With the whole Jey Uso dissension, the Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens taking the tag titles off from the Jimmy, because Jimmy is now stepped up and doing just as wonderful as a job as everyone else has. So now they can start to explore these other stories that are involved with it and really stretch this thing out more. Like I said, it's the gift that keeps on giving. Milk it dry, baby. And now they said, you know what, Cody? You're going to get your moment, but I think it's better if we just say no now. Because Sami Zayn has literally given us like the greatest gift ever and made this bloodline story. Took it from like here to here. So I know we want Sami to win the title, Tidey. It's not going to happen. It's just not.
I wasn't good. Why are you trying to read my thoughts, man?
But what he has done is he has allowed us to really be able to enjoy this storyline for even longer now. Because now I want to be like, let's go, Jey. I want Jey to dethrone Roman. It's not going to happen, but I want it to. Kind of the same way with Sami. If I'm being realistic and thinking logically, yeah, Sami wasn't going to beat him. It was too close to me. All this stuff. I get it, but I really wanted it to happen. So,
dude, I was believing the Kool-Aid, sipping it, believing it.
But
you know what?
I was drinking it here, but in my head, I was like, I do get what people are saying. I do get it.
But that's
I get it.
the one thing I gotta say about us. I think as wrestling fans, I think we overthink it, and I'm so glad that you guys got caught up in that moment because I went into that. Unfortunately for me, I went into that with my I'm a pro wrestling fan hat on my head and was like, it's a month before WrestleMania, the most historic reign in the history of professional wrestling. You can't have. And in my mind, I hate myself for that because, man, I wish I got swept up in that like you guys did. Because that's the fun of being a wrestling fan. It's feeling like a kid again. That made so many people feel like a kid again. Yeah. That's what we need more of.
And the reason that me and Jimmy, these foolish hearts of ours, were deceived by the
real wrestling fans.
The charm of Sami Zayn. We couldn't help it. You know, like. We saw the whole thing. We talked about it for weeks on the podcast about when's it going to happen? What's going to happen? Elimination Chamber, this. And then the whole time, I don't know how many times I fell in love with Sami Zayn, but man, when Roman handed him that T-shirt and did that dirty Godfather thing, it's like, oh, you're the Godfather, you're bad, but you take care of the family. Yeah. He threw him that damn T-shirt. I was like, Roman, why are you making me like you, man? You know, I mean, like, it brought layers to something, and then it's like you see Sami Zayn crying. You know, Jay tears his shirt off. I mean, yeah, they all did a good job, but you know, you can tear the shirt off anybody, but you don't get to tear that shirt off Sami Zayn. So when it got to the Elimination Chamber, I knew the head thoughts. I knew about Cody, and I knew about all this shit, and my heart was just racing the like 3 days before, and then when it happened, I think I took like 4 shots, and dude, I've never seen something in wrestling this good, and it goes back to a couple qualities that Sami has. He's relatable, he's sincere, he means what he says, and then you want to get real, bring my wife out here and yell back at Roman, he loved you.
Yeah,
like basically crying. He loved you. I was crying while this happened. I was tearing up because I was still in the moment, like he could win. And then it took me about 10 minutes after. Then I started crying. I was like, "You're telling me Sami ain't good enough for WrestleMania?" And I can still feel it right now. I can feel those feelings. It's because of who Sami is. Now, you don't get a baby face like that. And and I would rather feel that than think too hard, because you know what? If my dad was wrestling, I'd be voting for the hero. I'd be rooting for him. And Sami Zayn became the father for me. God damn, he's going to win, Jimmy. So hear this out. I'll be a prick for a second and be stupid, all right? So Jay is going to make a mistake. Jay is going to get his ass squashed. It's going to be a match. Sami's going to run out there, and the two things Kevin Owens kept saying is like, dude, just leave it alone already, dude. Making that point 2 weeks in a row, you got to learn to let it go. Sami's like, I can't, I'm whatever. He's going to come out there and try to help Jay after Jay gets squashed and beaten to death. And it's going to be the opposite of what we think. And then Kevin's going to be like, he's not going to turn on him there. But Kevin's like, I'm out, dude. You're dumb. You don't have to get involved in this business. I keep telling you about this business. Leave it alone. Sami and KO fight later. I don't care. But Sami's going to be a pivotal person into trying to like help Jay. But I think Jay's going to be bloody and done. And then that's going to make Jay come back as that guy later. But I think Sami gets one more chance to knock his head off. And then KO's be like, I'm done with you. But you know what? I'm the one that's supposed to beat Roman. It was my thing. And Sami's like, no, I'm killing him. And that's where I hope it goes. Will Sami win? No, probably not. But one more shot, man.
So 3 things to touch on with all that. I'll say, you were saying like you wish you could get caught up like we did because so this is what I try to express to literally every wrestling fan who gives me crap for enjoying what I enjoy and being excited about the things I'm excited. I watch with my heart, because the reason I started watching this is because it made me feel. And if you're trying to watch something that's making you feel and you're overthinking things, it's never going to make you feel. And you're always just going to be like, well, I'm smarter than everybody else because my brain is telling me this. And it's like, you're robbing yourself of an enjoyment, and you definitely shouldn't be doing that. Just put the brain away when you're watching wrestling, at least sometimes, and just really get wrapped up in some stuff. And I guarantee the bickering that happens in the IWC would drop 50% if fans just started doing that more often.
Couldn't agree more.
2, where was I going? Jay. And this is back to my heart. This is like, I'm looking for things that would make me feel. And I'm just thinking, what a fantastic moment. I would forget Sami not getting his moment if I got to watch Sami Zayn come down after all this time. He's being told, stop messing with them. And he just doesn't. He's like, I can't. I got too much love for that man. I want to help him because he understands he's just being stupid. And he really just keeps pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And then finally, Jey Uso challenges Roman Reigns. And again, I know it's not going to happen logically, but if I'm like, man, what's going to make me feel? Jey Uso beats Roman Reigns because Sami Zayn comes down there and helps him. And then gives him the nod afterwards, like, Jay, we don't have to be cool, but I just want you to know I still got love for you and I respect you. And then Jay just nods back. I think that would just be such an incredible. I think that's a rivals Sami Zayn winning at Elimination Chamber. That's how highly I think of that moment.
It'd be up there.
Wouldn't happen, but again,
it'll be up there if they do it right.
This is me speaking from the heart, which I That's what I try to watch with.
I have a question for you both.
I like it.
So my genuine understanding of this, the way you guys both feel, is that you feel Sami Zayn has not gotten his moment because he hasn't won the World Championship, right?
I'm past it because I think his moment at WrestleMania was fantastic.
So that's my thing. So I think that main eventing WrestleMania as the first time ever that the tag team championship were ever defended in the main event of a WrestleMania, Sami Zayn doing that,
With
in
his
my
best
opinion,
friend.
it's bigger than him winning a world championship. Like, because I'm gonna go to your guy, Jimmy. I'm gonna go to your guy. What is the biggest reason that CM Punk cited that he wanted to leave WWE at one point? What is the one thing he wanted to do that they didn't allow him to do?
Main event WrestleMania.
Main event WrestleMania. Sami Zayn did it. He's done something that, I mean, some of the biggest wrestlers in the history of this industry haven't ever done.
Okay. Here's my argument to that and why I took it all. Like, I still kind of give people shit for the Cody thing because they're still whining about it. And it's like, well, you guys literally just gave me and Teddy so much shit when we're like, but it should have been Cody. You're like, deal with it. So now I'm telling all the Cody fans, deal with it. But they're also going to get their moment next year. So it's like, just chill. My thing with Sami, though, is if Sami wins that title at Elimination Chamber in his hometown with his wife in the front row, with the crowd as hot as it was, because Sami Zayn was hotter than Cody Rhodes is. Anybody can argue with me all they want. You're wrong. Sami was just over. It was a whole different level. That was CM Punk returning for the first dance over. That's how over he was. If he wins that title, that moment will be played throughout history for the next 100 years. It's going to be that big of a moment. Whereas him winning the tag titles at WrestleMania was a great moment. It's not as big as that moment would have been, in my opinion, because I think the fans would have just really elevated it to be something bigger than what it was. And it would have been big anyway, because Roman Reigns lost. It wasn't going to be huge, but to do it, he got over organically. He did it in his hometown.
That Canada video
we look for.
That Canada video, dude. Finally, one of our own is going to be main eventing. Like, so I know. See, I like WrestleMania's first night main event, but sorry, man. It's a good match, and I liked how it ended and all. But for me, that was the consolation thing from Elimination Chamber. If we're gonna talk about consolation, you got the main event WrestleMania. That's such a fucking big deal. You know what's a bigger? Sorry. You know what's a bigger deal? Is the top babyface that I've ever seen in my life had a shot and lost. I'm okay with that because I still believe he's going to kick Roman's ass. I don't give a shit. It's got to happen. This fan is committed to the Sami Zayn act. But they're slowly convincing me, though, each week that I'm caring less about that because, he's doing things with KO. He's tag teaming. It's slowly chopping away at the hope of it. But they're doing a good job because they're putting that back in the shadow where it may need to be in booking way. I don't give a shit. I can dream.
So you said it's consolation. I will say, if you're going to give someone a consolation prize, I think they gave him the best one he could. He got to enjoy that moment and give his best friend in the business his Grand Slam moment, and it was truly a special moment. It wasn't as special as what it could have been at Elimination Chamber. I agree with you, but I do think, as far as consolation prizes go, that's probably the best one I've ever seen. Like, it really was. My man Lou said
that hard.
Sami's still hotter than Cody. My man Lou, I'm glad he finally jumped on board. He used to give me so much shit about the Sami thing, and he finally came on board. That's why I like Lou. He thinks logically too. And Chris says, and this is something I've said a few times, to go from getting destroyed by Knoxville in a comic match to main event WrestleMania, there's never been a bigger jump from year to year. Never.
Remember, this is my favorite thing about that whole thing. Remember the wrestling fans, the pure wrestling fans? Sami Zayn should leave WWE and go to AEW, where he'll be appreciated. WWE would never appreciate a man of Sami Zayn's talents. And less than a year later, and then remember, that was before he signed before Knoxville. They took a man of Sami Zayn's talent and put him in a comedy match at WrestleMania. Less than a year later, he's in a main event in his hometown in one of the most, I mean, It's just one of the most historic matches in WWE history.
Yeah.
No matter whatever the outcome was. Oh, I know, man. I know you would.
The fans would. He would not be booked that way. And I hate to say that because I'm an AEW fan, 100%. But I look at how they do everyone else, and it's like, nope. If you're not part of the elite or that original team, you don't get these moments. You don't get these opportunities. They just kind of use you, and then, okay, you're off to La La Land. So I
cast asunder like Miro.
Yeah, no, Sammy and AEW doesn't work for me. And again, that's coming from someone I like AEW. I love Sammy, and I'm not even mad at him wrestling somewhere besides WWE. But it clearly was the wrong move because he's done fantastic things with WWE ever since. So
yeah.
KO
was the same thing. Remember the picture of his face in the turnbuckle? He's miserable of being there. He should leave.
No, resigned.
Fans acting emotionally without putting any thought into it, and it's
main event of WrestleMania.
I think what's funny about that whole thing, this just came to me, is that they always think they're smarter than everybody else because they think with their head. But then when it comes to things like that, they don't think logically. They're just like, he's mad, he's gone, he's going to AEW, it's going to be, and it's like, no, stop it. You took a picture. You took one picture and made a whole story out of it. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Main event WrestleMania 2 years in a row. Imagine that.
Oh my god.
But he was wasted.
Yeah. It could be 3 years in a row if him and Sammy go head to head next year, but that's for another time. I won't get into that. I could talk about that one for hours as well. But that's the show. I will go ahead and throw in real quick that I thought the AEW once again, they followed a structure, and I love it. I love what AEW is doing. So much so that I'm bringing back the AEW recap right here on the Drip King of Wrestling channel. So if anybody who used to watch it, missing it, it's coming back. May 10th will be the first episode I do because in the meantime, I am a busy man. But good news is that's the night we're having Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega in a cage. So I will be that is so fun to talk about that one. I'm already ready for it.
I'm watching it.
Chris said thank you, man. Definitely follow. Again, I bring high energy with it. I'm not there to crap on it. I'm going to talk about all the things I love. And if I don't love it, I'll just kind of skip over it. I'm not going to bash it. I promise you that's not who I am. I try my best not to do it. And I think I do a pretty good job at it. But with that said, that's the show. I will be back tomorrow with the Raw recap over on WrestleBuddy. So if you missed the show or you just want to talk about the show, jump in there. We can have a chat. It's always a good time. I will be back next week with the Positively Awesome Wrestling chant. No, we will not. Next week we are off because actually, no, we're not. I will let y'all know. It's up in the air at this point. I'm going out of town, but I think I'm coming back Sunday. I'm not 100% sure. I'll let it be known, but there's a chance I might not. Later, Chris. Thank you for joining, bud.
Thanks, man.
But yes, so we might be back next week. If not, if we are, we're going to be talking about Backlash for sure, and probably the rest of the draft.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so she says we'll be back next Sunday night. So if I'm not dead ass tired, we'll be here on Sunday night. And even if I am, I'll just drink Red Bull. We'll knock it out. So with that, Tidey, you have anything you'd like to say before we head on out tonight?
I binge watch a show by Ali Wong on Netflix. It's called Beef.
Thank you.
It's the single greatest TV show I've ever watched in my life. You can go seasons 1 through 5 of Game of Thrones. I'm sorry. You just everything everywhere all at once. It even rivals that message. So
Really?
You've seen it. You've seen it, Jim? No, you haven't seen okay, whatever, because you'd be losing your shit that I'm talking about it right now.
I almost watched it last night. I almost did, but I was not in the right state of mind to watch it. So I was like,
needs to watch it because it's not what you think it is, and it is. And I've never, again, there's not many movies that try to tackle the meaning of life or how do you deal with things. It's got so many issues. There's a little bit of horror in there for no reason. You have to watch that shit. It is the greatest TV show I've ever seen in my life. I stayed up.
It's got Steven Yeun in it. He's got old Glenn from Walking Dead, so that's good.
I've heard a lot of good things about it. I think you might have just made the most compelling argument to make me watch it, though.
10 out of 10. Nothing touches it. I'm sorry. I'll never, ever. Dude, it is
hear that, babe?
Beyond. Sorry.
We got a new show to add to the list, babe, because I've been wanting to kind of watch it, and then Tidey just oversold it. So we have to watch it.
Exactly. Yeah, that was from the heart.
Roommate was crying the last 3 episodes. Like, no, there's another episode. There has to be. Like, dude, we couldn't. I was crying. I was like, what? So good.
As far as the Everywhere All at Once movie, I literally was this close to tuning it on last night, but I was like, man, I'm not feeling a movie that I got to think about. I just kind of wanted to be stupid last night. So let's get these. I got to see you guys. I'm a huge fan. All you guys love this. Hey, I really appreciate it, Cameron, and I'm glad you keep tuning in. I really appreciate it. I can't send out enough love for the support, man. I really appreciate it. Watched Cocaine Bear last night. Cocaine Bear is good. I think it's a little overhyped, but it's pretty good. Let's see. Okay, this is Lou. Lou knows good TV too, so I'll get his opinion on it too.
So good.
We just watched Kevin Smith stand up last night. That's what we did. That's my go-to when I'm in a bad mood. I watch Kevin Smith. That's my go-to. Albert, now is your chance to shine. Before we head on out of here, is there anything you would like to spit to the folks out there in YouTube land?
So Slam Sessions on YouTube, as always, I'll just throw that out there. I'm reworking some things. I'm trying to get some new stuff up. The other thing is, guys, draft is coming up. The rest of the draft, we're going to have a completely restructured WWE to start talking about after Backlash. It's going to be a whole brand new ball game. And I could not be more excited. And I couldn't be more excited that I got to come here every week and talk about it with you guys.
Awesome. So head on over there to the Slam Sessions channel and just wait. There's stuff for you to watch in the meantime. So just go in there, turn that bell on. So when he does get that new stuff up, you ain't going to miss it. And in the meantime, check out all the old stuff. But that has been Positively Awesome Wrestling for the night. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank everybody out there for watching us. That's much appreciated. And again, I'll be back tomorrow night, and then we will be back next Sunday after, as she put out right here. Where did it go? I will be driving all day. So forgive me if I'm a little bit exhausted next week, but I will do my best to be here for you. In the meantime, have a great weekend, and please just enjoy wrestling. Please.